Okay, hi everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here. I've got a few things to do to wrap up the day. In a few minutes, I'm going to invite Keisha Thompson, our poetry chronicler, who's going to come up and give us her view of the day, which I'm really looking forward to. But first, I just want to say a very, very big thank you publicly to Rowley, who has guided the Knowledge Quarter so effectively and got us to where we are now. So thank you, Rowley, for all your hard work. It's very much appreciated. So the team said to me, oh, just do a couple of minutes summing up. It's like, and the observant ones of you might have realised that I wasn't here for a chunk of the day. But a couple of things really strike me. I was involved in a project some years ago funded by AHRC called Knowledge Commons. And the idea was that knowledge, like a piece of common ground, requires the people who use it to look after it and tend for it and care for it. And it seems like this idea in this world, that this technology, digital information-rich age, that's never been more important. And my colleague, Professor Richard Clay, who ran that program, used to use a George Bernard Shaw quote about knowledge. And he said a thing from George Bernard Shaw, we couldn't actually attribute it, but it was about apples. And it's basically saying if you have an apple and I have an apple and we exchange apples, we both have one apple. But if you have an idea and I have an idea and we exchange ideas, we have two ideas. And it's a simple illustration of the compound power of knowledge. The more we exchange ideas, the more knowledge we can have. And we've just heard a really interesting debate around information and knowledge. And there is another probably unattributable quote I like from Tom Waits that says we mistake information for knowledge, and it goes on to talk about money and guns and monkeys and all sorts of other stuff. But it's a great quote. And I think today my observation is really just about the sheer quality and range of speakers that we've had. I've been really impressed with the complexity of the discussions, how thought-provoking they've been, and the sheer range. And they really illustrate the power, if you like, of the Knowledge Quarter as we've gone through the day. There was a moment of self-realization when Clive was talking about the optimization issue and the dangers of one-click, and my growing trainer collection and collection of dub reggae t-shirts is testament to boredom and alcohol and one-click shopping. So I'm very aware of that. But I really found the day challenging, I found it compelling, and I thought it was, in all the sessions, people were really prepared to attack difficult issues and just the sheer quality of the speakers. But what we came back to more often than not, there was a lot of talk about aspiration. So really, and a lot to talk about principles and values. And I think that if we will constantly come back to those themes in these debates, because for me, that part is what defines the human condition, values and principles. And it really drives us. And it's really, I think, really healthy to hear these really complex and difficult discussions going on. And I was delighted to be able to just to catch the end of Richard and our younger colleagues who've joined us today, for the representing the youth. Thank you very much. It was really good to have you here, and we enjoyed listening to you. I'm a great believer in that last session. Tonya and colleagues talked about the importance of the arts, and we've heard throughout the day about putting the A into STEM to make it STEAM. And I think this really speaks to what the KQ is about for me. It's about bringing together STEM and the arts and creating. And for me, the really interesting stuff happens at the boundaries, and it is often the artists that are the first to question, the first to raise the issues of how we work with things. And Clive, again, referred to that, this idea that often artists are the first people to grapple with new materials and work with them in different ways. And something we try and do at UCL Culture is really encourage our academics to engage with artists, with creatives in new and interesting ways, because we find that the interesting things happen and new ideas emerge. So that whole idea that STEAM is critical to the future of knowledge, the future of understanding the digital age. And so I think, in summary, for me, knowledge is, perhaps in its purest form, perhaps along with data, is the antidote to misinformation and disinformation. And if we use it, if we continue to have these debates and discussions and question what's in front of us, we will find a way forward. Because I've heard lots of real positive stories today about the potential for data, the potential to improve lives through sharing knowledge using digital platforms and so forth. But actually, accessibility is a key issue. And again, that's something that we care deeply about in the Knowledge Quarter. We are an interesting group. We're a group membership that includes large organisations, small organisations, community organisations, learning organisations. And I think today is a really good example of how we can bring those things together to create moments of catalysation where ideas start to spark and ideas get exchanged. So that's really my reflection on the day. I just, again, want to add my thanks to the speakers. I think we've had some real, what I describe as really crunchy things going on, which means we've been able to get our teeth into discussions. And for the sessions that I wasn't able to attend, I've heard some really good reports. Poet in the City seemed to be particularly popular, so congratulations to them. Not that I should be picking anybody out. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Keisha Thompson, our poet chronicler, to the stage. Keisha, over to you.